History in the making in this hemisphere is very much a South Florida story. And Congresswoman Maria Salazar, one of Maduro's most vocal detractors, very much a part of that today. And Machado's biggest supporter right here with us. Congresswoman, great to have you. Great to have you back.
Wonderful. Not a little voice, but I'm always very happy to be in contact with my community.
Your voice will be just fine today, and an important one, because I really want to start right there with all of the events over the last 24 hours. You know, you are one of Maria Machado's biggest supporters. You were there in Oslo with her when she accepted the Nobel Prize and heaped praise on the president, and really had crowds of people looking at her as the heir apparent to democracy in Venezuela. What do you make of the president now doing an about-face in such a grand fashion yesterday?
Well, the president said it very clearly, and I'm just going to repeat the words that you just showed on that clip: safe, proper, and judicious transition. And we are sure, not only myself, but the three members of the House of Representatives, the delegation that represents South Florida, that we know that she is going to be a very important player in the future of Venezuela. What we need to do right now, the United States, and I am a congressional representative for the people who live in District number 27 in Florida. What the United States needs to do is to bring stability. And that is exactly what Marco Rubio said today in a previous interview. We're going to bring stability. We're going to make sure that those people who have remained, that are still working with Maduro or that belong to the Maduro gang, will cooperate with us. And that cooperation will bring stability, not a civil war. And that is going to give us the platform so we can do what the president just said: safe, proper, and judicious transition. So, you know, the United States is not in the business of creating colonies. We're in the business of liberating people and giving it back to the natives, just like it happened in Panama.
Okay, so let me just you brought up a lot there, so let me take one at a time. I mean, you and your colleagues, and may I just say, I mean, I have, in talking to all of our South Florida congressional reps, most of them, not all of them, but are very much behind the extrication of a bad player, very much behind the prosecution of
Who would not be? I mean, you gotta be, Glenna.
Okay, and so he was taken out, extricated as a drug fugitive, and all along, that is the primary goal and the primary reason for this. Yesterday in the press conference, the president didn't talk about democracy at all. He did talk about going in and running a country. So safe and orderly transition, yes, but regime change by the United States is not something that Republicans, by and large, have been behind in concept in the past couple of months.
But I think that media is misinterpreting what you just said. It's very clear that we had the legal framework to take this guy out. Who was Maduro? We've repeated many times. He was indicted in 2020 by a federal grand jury. He was part of a transnational criminal organization. He was the head of the Suns cartel, and they were pushing drugs into the streets of the United States.
Yes, that is the indictment.
All right, so then the indictment, him, his wife, Diosdado Cabello. So there's a group of people who are still in Venezuela who are on that indictment. So be careful what's going to happen next, because they have been indicted by a federal grand jury, not by President Trump.
Okay,
so what did we do? It's our responsibility as a country to make sure that our neighbors are not harming us, are not pushing, they're not throwing terrorist attacks, they're not sending Tren de Aragua to our streets. So it's our responsibility, the United States Congress, to protect our fatherland. And
sure,
that's exactly what Trump did.
Yeah, so, okay, sure. So take me through then. Edmundo Gonzalez, Maria Corina Machado was barred from running by Maduro, could not run in the last election. Her party, they put Edmundo Gonzalez, who won, I forget the exact number, but close to 80%. He is, by and large, the legitimately, democratically elected president of Venezuela. Why isn't he and the party and Machado being now in the path to be the ones to go back and take their rightful place as president.
Marco, and I understand what you're telling me. Marco Rubio, Secretary of State and National Security Advisor, said it very clearly. We're talking about the next 2 weeks, the next few months. How are we going to stabilize? Most of opposition leaders, including those that you mentioned, Maria Corina, whom I believe that in the future will be the next president of Venezuela, once elections are once again organized, not by the Maduro regime, but by independent and transparent process with international observers. But that's in the future. Marco Rubio said it today. Wait, we got to stabilize the country. We're going to make sure that they do not continue giving a platform to our enemies, Russia, China, Iran, Hezbollah, Hamas. Number one. Number two, not for them to continue sending drugs, because something that I learned now that I'm getting into the weeds is that Venezuela now has the largest laboratories for cocaine, because Colombia now is sending the coca paste to Venezuela, because in Venezuela, since they do have rare earth minerals and they have these great chemicals, they are just mixing the paste with something more potent and sending it to the streets of Miami.
So now we are, again, talking about the drug trade and what the United States is doing to combat Venezuela's role and Nicolas Maduro's role in the drug trade. Let's put that aside, or you can connect that for us to much of what the president said. Yes, exactly. And that's what we've been talking about all along. But then yesterday in the press conference, the bomb dropped by the president is, we're getting the oil companies, we're going to be running the oil industry, we're getting the oil companies to come in and run the oil industry in Venezuela. We're going to take back our oil, is what the president said. So he didn't say anything about democracy at all, and he hardly talked about the drug indictment, which, to your point, is the reason why Maduro is in custody. So the oil reserves now, all of his detractors raised Cain yesterday with, oh, it's all about the oil. Take us through how the oil industry in Venezuela has anything to do with the drug indictment.
Because the oil industry in Venezuela, we know they have the largest reserves of oil in the world. We, at the beginning of the 19th century, we helped them build that infrastructure. That infrastructure has been destroyed by the Chavistas. So in which way we, the American companies, by the way, we produce the cleanest oil in the world, not the Chinese that are destroying PDVSA, or the Indians or the Russians. What we can is contribute. We can contribute with the rebuilding of PDVSA. And I'm sure that the Venezuelans would vote 90-10 to allow the American companies to go in and fair and square be able to subtract and to extract and to transport and to better the lines and the pipes and all the rigs and everything that big complex industry involves. So what the president is saying, basically, which, you have to, that was few hours after the Maduro operation. We know what's the bottom line. Good intentions. We are a good country, benevolent one. We have liberated the Venezuelans from a thug and an evil character. And what's going to happen is that we are going to. Are you with me, right?
Yeah, we're here.
Oh, yeah.
We're listening.
So what we're going to do is, in the very near future, is what we did in Cuba in 1902, what we did in Grenada in 83, what we did in Panama in 1990. We're going to have our forces.
I know Cuba was mentioned yesterday, next in line. I think that's a whole. I wish we had time to really delve into that, but I really want to, before I let you go, there is a meeting coming up. The president wants to talk to House Republicans this week. I wonder if you have any questions for him. Is there anything you want to challenge the president on from a congressional point of view about this?
I would like to ask him, what's the plan? But I know that Marco Rubio has the plan, and he said it very, very forcefully this morning that he is very much part of the whole operation. And what we're doing is that we're stabilizing the military, making sure that the military understands that the Cubans cannot run it anymore, that the Cubans need to leave. And that's something that I don't think anyone has really come up with this or has expressed it, is that where were the Cubans protecting Maduro? It's like it happened in Allende that they were protecting with the Cubans in Chile. So the Cubans have lost their touch. They're now a tiger pig. It's like the tiger that doesn't roar anymore. Because otherwise, Maduro would have not been able to be caught so easily. Where were the Russians?
Well, there's
So that
there's
means that-
also certainly a line of thinking that if the U.S. controls Venezuelan oil, that Cuba's not going to be getting. That kind of starves that
well,
regime.
it should have
in a way.
never gotten oil for free.
Maria
we're
Salazar?
talking about that this guy Chavez sent $120 billion for free to Castro. Thank God that's done.
I
gone.
know that as a former TV journalist, that time clock is always killing us. I really want to thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you for
Appreciate
the opportunity. And to the Venezuelans, congratulations.